just get started. And when you get started, just one foot in front of the next, keep working towards it and trust in yourself. And I think you need a little bit of crazy in that good way. You have to trust yourself. You have to believe in yourself, because there's no one else that's going to believe in you the way you do.
Welcome. I'm Amrita, and this is the Amrita Effect. Real conversations about identity, resilience, and becoming for women in the middle of figuring themselves out or finding their way back to who they really are. This episode is made possible with the support from the following sponsors. Fabio Gula at Luminant Bank. If you're thinking about buying or refinancing, Fabio offers over 35 years of experience and helps match you with the right loan, not just a one-size-fits-all. And Tyler McBroom at TRM CPA. They are a proactive CPA company helping business owners maximize profits and pay as little tax as legally possible. Main Street Title. They deliver your title on time, every time. And last but not least, Lauren DiCarlo at Zingarli and DiCarlo. If you have any real estate transactions for buying or selling, reach out to them for representation. We're here with our guest today, and I'm so excited because this is all in line with what I'm going through right now in terms of being very eco-friendly and just my surroundings. And you'll get to dive in. So I'm so excited to introduce Janette Spiezio, who is the founder of Sustainable Haus, a zero waste refill shop. And it's located right here in Summit, New Jersey, which is exciting because I live in New Jersey. Following an extensive corporate career, she launched a business to offer over 3,000 plastic-free and non-toxic products. So yay for that. She's a climate reality leader, a community educator on sustainability, and her store serves as a regional hub for specialty recycling. Janette is also the co-founder and co-chair of Beyond Plastics in New Jersey. So this is so cool, Janette. Before I dive in, just give me like a 30-second or 60-second spiel on how this even came about for you.
Sure. I mean, it's pretty simple. I'm a first generation American, so I kind of lived a sustainable lifestyle and, picked natural fibers, all that. I was in corporate for 30 years, as you noted, and I got downsized. But I was ready to go, I don't know, working mom, 30 years, high paced job. You're ready to just do something different. And I did. And so I got downsized and I wondered what was in my laundry detergent. And I started to look up the ingredients, and boy, it was not easy. So I said, I'm just going to make my own because it's going to be easier than trying to figure out what all these chemicals are. And that's how I started. And I had this idea that if I needed this and I cared, others would too. And so I started farmers markets, and one step in front of the other. I'm a creative, so I could talk for hours. I could figure out all kinds of solutions. That's what I'm good at. And so I just one step in front of the other. I've never had a business plan, never wanted one. And and I knew I wanted a brick and mortar. I wanted to be part of a community. And somebody said to me, "Oh, you should meet Al Gore." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, like that's just going to happen." And right. So I did the climate reality training, and then I kind of became an expert. I do a lot of reading, a lot of research. If you ask me what I do, I'd say I'm a researcher. And from there, I just, keep wanting to make a bigger impact. So everything that I do is about making a bigger impact. It is absolutely not about making the most money. It is not about any of that. It is simply getting more people to make changes because we can't live the way we're living. It's just that simple.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So tell me how it was when you first left the corporate job. Did you have like an identity crisis?
No, I remember telling my kids in the morning, I said, today's a big restructuring at the company, and I might not have a job. And, we're going to be fine. I was divorced. I'm like, we three are going to be just fine. Nothing is going to affect us. I'm happy either way. Whatever happens, I'm good. And my daughter, I called her at lunchtime and I said, I'm having lunch with one of my friends in town. And she was like, "Oh, that's great. So you're okay?" And I'm like, "I am okay." And she thought that meant I had a job. But having lunch in town on a weekday meant I did not have a job.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and she came home from school and I was here and she was like, so you have a job? And I'm like, no. And I was so happy. So I didn't have an identity crisis. I had a let me catch up on my projects like moment. And I was really happy. I went to the gym every day. I, just started to do all the things that us moms want to do all the time and don't have time for. And I focused on friends and exercise and eating right and my garden and it was great. And but I started making products. My friends did think I was crazy, right? So I went from this like really high powered executive job to working at the farmer's market with my own laundry detergent. And that, for a lot of people seems crazy, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah. It is. It's not the norm, right? It's
No.
not the prescription that we're kind of sold from the time we grow up. Like you get an education, you get a great job, and you keep thriving and you keep climbing, and there's nothing after that. That's it. So let's talk about this physical detox. So how does clearing our physical space of toxins help clear our mental space? There's a connection there, obviously, um, especially during shifts in life, when we feel like we're overwhelmed in transition, or how do we apply this zero waste concept, to edit our emotional clutter that we have, or the mental clutter that we have? Talk to me about that.
So I'm just going to, I'll focus a little bit. Yes, that's a lot. So let me just make one plug for a movie called Plastic Detox.
Hmm.
And it sort of epitomizes everything we do. And it's on Netflix. It's free. It's, I don't know, the usual hour and a half. And it's a movie that's very physical about the impacts of plastic to our bodies and our lives and with respect to fertility. But it's plastics in general are toxic. So, um, most people don't realize just how toxic, but they're very toxic. And I'll give you, well, a couple things. Plastics do two main things that are really bad. They're petroleum based with petrochemicals added to make them, all the things: rigid, hard, soft, colorful, clear, pliable, all the things we need them to do. And plastic as a material to make things is amazing because it does everything you want it to do.
Hmm.
But it's full of petrochemicals and they are undisclosed. So when you go to the grocery store and you buy a muffin, it's going to list the ingredients in the muffin, but not in the plastic.
Right.
And how is that like okay? Like it's not okay. So plastics do these two things. They leach chemicals, meaning like it just kind of comes into the air around us or the soil or the water, wherever they happen to be.
Yeah.
And they shed micro and nanoplastics. Micro are teeny tiny, but microplastics you need a microscope to see, and they cross the blood organ brain barrier. So the plastics in our body are really the nanoplastics predominantly. And again, all these undisclosed toxins, and they have a huge impact on our health from weight, autoimmune, fertility, like you name it, it has an impact. And we don't really know exactly how much of an impact because, well, let's be clear, they can't do control studies because they can't find a control group. There are no humans without plastics in them. I just
Wow.
pause there for a moment. So even babies, there are no humans anywhere on the planet without plastics because plastics is infiltrated everywhere. There's so many young people that are stressed about, I call it the climate crisis. It's not change. Change happens all the time. We're in a crisis. And for young people, it's very stressful. And for many of us, like it seems so hard to know what to do because it feels like you don't have a voice, you can't make a difference, and there's so many issues. And I would say that it's not enough to live our lives. We have to do things to make life better. We have to make change. We have to be change makers. And everybody does it in a different way. If we think about leadership, not everybody's a leader. I've just
Right.
come to accept that.
Yeah.
I am a leader. Right? That's my nature.
Right.
So when it comes to mental health, I think when you are, first of all, when you have physical illnesses, mental health is is made worse. And I think that making positive change, whether it's just for yourself or for others, influencing others, any positive change is a good one. And it helps with our mental everything. But change can be overwhelming. And so when people come in the store and say, okay, I'm going to change everything. I've been watching you for a long time. I'm here. I'm going to make, I want to change every single thing. Kid in a candy store. I'm spending 2 or 3 hours in the store. And these are real people. This happens all the time. And I say to them, yes, make a few changes. There might be things you've been thinking about or things you already use and you need to refill. Absolutely go do that. But when it comes to big changes, don't make more than a few at a time. One change every week, 2 changes every month. Incorporate a change, make it work, and then move on to another one. And incorporate them into your life, and you will feel better because, I tell a story, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about this later, but I tell the story all the time, and I have a book coming out. I'm co-authoring it with a bunch of others. It's a Chris Voss book. It's coming out in 2 weeks. And my
Exciting.
chapter is about a shampoo bar. And of course, I came down here without a single shampoo bar in my hand. But it's how a shampoo bar can really change the world, because it can, right? So buying one shampoo bar saves 15,000 bottles. How do we get there? Well, the average person uses 12 bottles of hair care in a year. We all live to different ages. We make changes at different times. Some when they're very young and just born, some when they're in their 80s. So on average, maybe it's a 40 or 50-year impact. That times 12 bottles is about 500 bottles. So one person is going to save about 500 bottles. Some more, some less, on average 500. But you tell 10 friends. You're on a
Right.
podcast that reaches people. You tell your book club friends. You tell your mom, your children, your sisters, your best friends, and all of a sudden 10 people make that same change. So now it's 500 to 5,000 bottles. But then one day you all wake up and you say, and why am I, if I don't buy shampoo in a plastic bottle, why am I buying my dish soap, my laundry detergent, you name it, in a plastic bottle? And now you're making 3 more changes, and that's 15,000 bottles. And we didn't even try very hard. So
Right.
we, the consumers, can change what we use, how we influence people, and that ultimately changes what corporations are going to give us. If nobody wants their shampoo in a plastic bottle, I'm pretty sure they're all going to start putting it in a bar. But
Hmm.
at the end of the day, I think that our health is incredibly important: physical health, mental health, and there is no doubt that plastics and toxins in our daily life are affecting us. So the sooner that you start to clean up your surroundings, the better.
Hey, um, talk to me about how you're building with this purpose. You're creating a sustainable plastic-free business, which sounds so beautiful. Um, but what is one of the real unglamorous challenge that you continuously face while building from the ground up?
Sure. So I'm going to just give a couple clarifiers. Um, if you want liquid laundry detergent, shampoo, and dish soap, liquid, we can't move it around in glass bottles. We can't move it around, and you want refillables, right? Because we don't want to keep wasting. Glass is a great thing, but you can't keep buying glass bottles. That is still not good for the environment. So if you want to have all this stuff refillable, it's got to move around in plastic. And sure, I suppose we could be in a world where it moves around in metal containers, but metal corrodes. It's going to be lined in plastic. So we do move things around in plastic barrels, but they get emptied, cleaned, sanitized, and reused by the same company. So the freight company brings in a couple pallets with like 8 30-gallon barrels. And yes, I'm in my 60s, and it's really hard to move them around. And we do it. We do it in the store every day, because we go through the product and then we have to move a new one into place. So that's a big challenge. And then they go back, and then we have to wrap them all up, have the freight company come up, pick it up, and it's hard. But it makes a huge difference. And And it's a great opening conversation because I don't think anybody needs shampoo in a plastic bottle, laundry detergent in a plastic container, or dish soap in a plastic container. I can do all of that with bars, powders, and get a great experience. So, but most people, don't go from I buy everything in plastic at the grocery to now I'm going to buy everything in a non-toxic bar format and come to the
Right.
refill store to get it. That's a big leap. So we just want people to come in and buy one thing, two things maybe, learn how to use them, see the value in it, see how great the products work, and then come back and add two more things. And before you know it, you're just spending differently. But the truth is, the hardest part about this, I thought if you build it, they will come, right? I wanted it, others would want it, they will come.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't. They just don't, right? So they don't because they don't know you're there. There's no newspaper or magazine that's going to tell them because those things don't come to our doors anymore and we don't read them. So for me, what I learned early on was social media makes a difference. We have 122,000 followers on Instagram, 30 some on Facebook, and 30 some on TikTok. And more people find us and they come into the store and they're like, oh my God. And then they tell two friends and they tell two friends. And before you know it, we get busier. And that's the only thing that's made a difference.
But that's incredible. That type of following within an eight-year period on a topic that's not the sexiest topic or maybe the easiest, right? It's not an easy thing to sell because I feel like we're just so surrounded by the plastic that the thought of moving away even from one thing feels like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine where would I even find it because no store has it except your store, right? So bravo, like that's pretty cool.
So,
Go ahead.
just to be fair, so we are, I think, and this is a very unscientific study. I've been to a lot of zero waste stores. You can Google zero waste or refill store, and they're everywhere, right? There's hundreds of them in the U.S., but you have to find them. They're small. I think we are the largest in terms of product diversity, inventory, and so we want to have a lot of stuff. We're still a small space. We have a lot in there. We ship out 5 to 30 boxes every day throughout the country because not everybody has access to what we offer. But there are local refill stores in local communities that are worth going to. And we have more than any of the other stores because they're just smaller and it takes a lot of capital, a lot of investment, and a lot of work. Nobody has the following that we do, really. I haven't found any other small stores with our following, and I work at it every day. And it's hard. So, but
That's
it's worth it.
incredible.
Yeah.
So how did you overcome, and I don't know if you actually had the fear, but how did you overcome the fear, or even how did you, get to a point where you were like, this is what I'm going to do? Because you essentially started over. Corporate was
Did.
done, the chapter was closed, and now it was like a whole new world of whatever. How did you get past that, maybe even anxiety if it wasn't fear, or the fear of unknown, or whatever that was? Was there a blocker?
So I'm kind of a fearless person. I can tell you the things I'm afraid of. I don't sing in public. I am afraid of heights. There's some things I can do, some things I can't do when it comes to heights, and I know what those things are. So, you know, I was downsized, so that's always you have a little bit of a safety net there, and I wasn't worried about anything. I just plowed forward. But there's a few things. Number one, don't really take on investors because now you have somebody else to answer to. You have money to pay back. It's hard enough to pay back the rent. The day we opened the store was the week of COVID. So I'd done the farmer's market for a couple years, then found a space and then renovated it and opened it. And then COVID came. So, yeah, so there was a huge pivot. And at that time, I didn't do social media the first couple years. My daughter went to school for TV production and said, you've got to be on Instagram. And I went, okay. And then she told me my Instagram was horrible. And I said, okay. And, now we get a lot of compliments on the Instagram. And it's not perfect because it's a grind, right? Every single day I do a video, every single day. And
Yes.
and then I have to take product pictures for the website, which we create and develop on our own. We have to take pictures for Instagram. It's this constant thing. So I don't worry about perfection. But I didn't take on any borrowed money or investors, and I'm a maker. You start from like very little. You start from like nothing, and you make something, and you sell it, and you take that money and you reinvest it, and you can really build something. So for those that are starting small businesses, if you do something that you make, that's a great way to invest in yourself. And that was really key. And again, my daughter telling me my social media was terrible, that I needed to do it in the first place. She was right.
Yeah.
And you might be really lucky. You might have a great farmers market community, a great college community, a great friends community, a great school community. I don't know, a great something community. But social media is the only thing that's gonna push it out farther. And it's great to be on the news, to be on a podcast, to be an author. Those are all great, but not one of them is the magic bullet.
Right. There's several pieces to it. So I think the key thing here I'm taking away is we don't need to necessarily have everything figured out before making the shift.
Yeah.
And within the shift or post shift, the answers will come, the alignment will happen, but you got to stay in the zone and trust the process.
Yeah. Yeah. Just keep at it. And there are some people that want to do a business plan, go for it. Like if you're a very methodical, list driven person, I do like lists, go for it. But on the other hand, don't not start, right? That's double negative. That's bad. Just get started. And when you get started, just one foot in front of the next, keep working towards it and trust in yourself. And I think you need a little bit of crazy in that good way. You have to trust yourself. You have to believe in yourself, because there's no one else that's going to believe in you the way you do.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
How do we start trusting our own voice? How did you find the confidence to set up and lead in a completely new industry?
I don't know. I was used to being a leader. And I also thought that all my friends in corporate were my friends and that they'd come shop with me.
No.
The funny part is the people that do shop with me are generally the admin assistants that I worked with, the more junior people. And so I think when you treat people right and they're part of your world, they will continue to support you. But the senior people are just in their mindset, and they're not there to support you for the most part. I mean, there's always a few exceptions, but and a lot of my friends don't shop with me, and you're like, okay. But I think it just comes down to it's probably this little switch, right? It's been in my brain. I grew up as a really shy kid, really shy child, and I don't have tons of friends. I have like a couple of good friends, and they're friends with other people. Like if you ask me where all the parties are, I could never tell you. I just follow my friends on those things. But I'm passionate about things, and you just, I don't know, you just have to move forward and you have to find your space.
Okay. So if there's a listener here today that is feeling isolated right now, either because she's going through a shift or a transition, how can she start attracting a support system that aligns with her future? Because that's so critical, right? You went through this shift. How did you find that? How did you navigate that?
So you did say sort of like how do you get all this? I do think it is not in women's nature to trust in ourselves, right? So a guy will do exactly what I did and say, I have no experience, I have no resume, I'm just going to do it, and I'm going to say I do these 3 things, and I'm just going to say them like they're true, and I'm going to take my little experience and I'm just going to launch it, and they do. And women don't apply for a job until they feel like they have, the undergraduate, the graduate, the PhD, they've had 10 years of experience, they've done all these things, right? They want to be the expert before they start, and that's just wrong. Like, you become the expert as you go. Don't worry about what you're not good at, because the guys don't care. They just plow forward. So when you're confident in what you're doing, you're going to do better. And we just have to move forward like we're men, which I know is sort of counterintuitive because I love women. I think we rule the world. We have empathy. The book coming out is called Leading with Empathy. And my chapter is about empathy with a big E, right? Empathy for humanity, planet, like just living better. And women have empathy. So what we're lacking is this trust in ourselves. And I think the one thing I would have done differently had I known where I was heading was I would have started social media sooner and look at it like a job, look at it like creativity. And if you have something that bothers you, if you don't want to have your face on camera, you can have your back on camera, you can have your hands on camera, but you have to have some kind of a presence. And follow the people that teach you how to do social media, right? So I learned how to do social media from the people that teach you how to do social media, and you learn tips from that, and you do what you can to make it better, and you will make it better. And then don't worry about your imperfections.
So who did you follow to learn from about this social media game and to become this, influencer? Because that's what you are now.
Yes. And it's really weird when people out of the blue, like an airline, flight attendant recognizes you, or somebody you're sitting next to recognizes you. And it's a little fun. It doesn't happen often, but it happens a little bit. So, number one, if Instagram is kind of the way that has worked for me. I found it to be the best one so far, but you need to diversify and be on more than one platform, because if it goes away or if something happens, you need a backup. So I started with Instagram, and Adam Mosseri heads Instagram, and he has lots of information and tips. He's worth following anyway, because you're getting it from the source. So you're keeping abreast of what's happening. Number two, there's a lot of women. I followed Carla Beisinger. I feel like I kind of outgrew her a little bit. Maria Wendt. Brock Johnson is probably one of the biggest. He's a guy. I watch all of them, and they all have tips and tricks, and I learned from all of them. And I found that you could do a course. I've tried to do a few courses. They all get a little complicated for me, and I just can't quite get all the way through them. So I just find that, sticking to what works. And I've done sessions where I'll teach people occasionally, but what I found is people say, "Oh, I want to learn what you do," but they don't really want to learn, right? They want it to be easy, and they want like 3 tips, and then they want to like just make it happen. And it's just not that easy. So, like for me, short form work. So my videos are generally, they're pretty much always under a minute. Occasionally I'll go over. Generally they're under 30 seconds. The message is clear. There's a hook in the beginning, a call to action at the end. There's, movement in the shots. Like sometimes I'm closer and farther away and turning sideways and coming into the camera. And you need all the visual hooks. You need the voiceover, the closed captions. You need it kind of in the right part of the screen so that people can see it. And you learn from each one, and I respond to every single comment. Comment. You could write me on a post I've done, a year ago, and you will get a response. And I miss one sometimes. So if you're out there and you're like, she didn't answer me, it was really an oversight. I try very hard to answer absolutely everybody, and I send out a lot of links, right?
So cool. Okay, so let's talk about the next chapter. You're obviously, in the business of environmental advocacy, and it's continuing to grow. What's the next layer of identity you're stepping into right now? You said you're about to launch a book. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so Chris Voss is a celebrity in his own right. He was a former FBI hostage negotiator, like the top one. He started Black Swan Group. He teaches at Harvard all the time. He's a leadership trainer. He's amazing. And he does books, right? And he's good at what he does. So he got 30 of us to each write a chapter about leading with empathy. And I love my chapter. I'm so excited. And it comes out on Thursday, June 4th. And yeah, so we're going to encourage everybody to buy it on Amazon. And if enough people buy it, it'll be a bestseller. And then I'll be a best-selling author. And it's the perfect, it's the perfect intro, right? So I want to be in front of large corporate audiences. So first of all, I was a former anti-corruption compliance officer for all of Prudential Financial. I'm used to speaking to large audiences of 1,000 or more people, no problem. So I want to be in front of your corporate event, and I want to talk about the book, and I want to talk about dip as a shampoo and conditioner, and I want the corporations to give out the book and a set of mini dips, and that's sort of payment for me as a speaker. And the store benefits, people hear the shampoo bar story and they get to try it, and it's the best shampoo and conditioner bars on the market, so everybody's going to love it. And you do that with products you're very confident with. She's also a New Jersey brand. She's become my friend. Kate's out of Sparta, New Jersey. And I want to get to more people, because what I find is there's two particular audiences that are very hard to reach. New moms, because as a new mom, you're so wrapped up in baby, work, household, friends, family, social. It's just really hard. So you don't have time to really learn new stuff unless you're forced to. And then also the corporate people, they're so focused on that one thing they do. So for me, it was anti-corruption, and I did a lot of reading in that space, but I didn't do a lot of reading about, at that time, about the environment or other things. So I want to get in front of them with environmental messaging that's easy for them to start, right? They don't have to come to the store. They can order some bars online. But they get to hear the story, and they get to hear how it works. And that's kind of a win. So my next chapter is hiring a PR person again and getting out in front of people more, which doesn't mean I'll slow down on social media. It doesn't mean that we'll, do less in person. The store gets busier every month by a very tiny amount. We've been on like a 20 to 30% growth rate, which for a small store is good, especially in economically challenging times. And I think the main myth we have to bust is it's not more expensive. In fact, dollar for dollar, I can assure you the shampoo bar set is more expensive than 2 bottles of shampoo and conditioner. But it lasts 3 times longer generally. It is better quality, and it will save you money compared to the 3 sets of these you have to buy. But you got to get over that initial spend because it's a little bit more. And then you start using reusable paper towel, and I save $3,500 by not buying paper towel for 10 years. $3,500. Wow. I mean, that's a vacation. That's a thing you can do with that money. That's college savings. It's huge. And then you start to realize that I don't need all new stuff. I can thrift. I can do without things. I'm going to buy a stainless steel pan because it really will last a lifetime, and then it'll be handed down to my children. And you start to make different choices, and you save so much money. Because I think so often people just want to say it's not convenient, it's more expensive, it doesn't work as well. They give all the reasons why, but think about it. Our parents' parents, right? Like, go back 50 to 100 years ago. We lived without plastic. Yeah. We used things like shampoo bars. We used things like, cast iron pans, and then we gave them to our children. We handed them down to the children. We handed our furniture down. We didn't live this life of consumption. And by the way, in the U.S., it would take 5 planet Earths to support a U.S. lifestyle if the whole planet lived the way we did. My goodness. And there's an Earth Overshoot Day, and it says that it changes. Every country has its own Earth Overshoot date, and it's the date in which your country has used the resource allotment that it has. So in the U.S., that's in March, and it keeps getting a little earlier. So that means by March, we've used all our allotment of resources, which is, this is not the way, like if anybody has children, nieces, nephews, anybody, generationally below them or cares about humanity, do this, right? Everything in the store is an easy swap. These aren't the hard things. The hard things are living without gas, not having a car, putting solar panels on your roof. Those are harder things, right? Cleaning the water, those are harder things. But so I want a bigger platform. So that's next for me. And also, Lois Krause and I co-founded Beyond Plastics New Jersey. So it's a national chapter founded by Judith Enck. She's out of Bennington, Vermont. She was a former Obama EPA regional director, and she founded Beyond Plastics. And to push it out, she's got regional hubs everywhere. So Lois and I founded the whole state of New Jersey, our hub, and we are changing the laws. So we just got Skip the Stuff passed. That's all the stuff you get with takeout. Plastic forks, condiments, napkins, all that stuff. And come August 1st, restaurants won't be allowed to give it out unless asked. So total
Love
common
it.
sense legislation, and we got it passed. We're one of 3 states. We're also working on construction dust containment. So if you're doing a construction project and you are cutting PVC piping, track stacking, anything plastic, when you cut, this is going to blow your mind. It should blow everybody's mind. When you do a single cut of a piece of plastic,
Mm-hmm.
at Rutgers, they're doing a study and they are seeing that it produces micro and nanoplastics in the numbers that end with trillion. Not
What?
thousands, not billions, not millions, trillion. It's over a
Oh my
trillion
God.
from a cut. So what we're saying is plastic construction dust containment, and don't quote me on the name of it because it's going to continue to change over time, but we're just asking that it be contained. So when you're cutting, sawing, sanding, that you have something that collects it, or that you have a tent over it, and that we make an effort not to let it get into the air, land, and water. And
Like,
there's nobody else doing this anywhere in the world. So we are the
that's
first state. Right. So what
incredible.
is next? I want to be bigger. I want to impact more people. And the more people that make swaps like a shampoo bar, the more people that care about the rules in the state. And then we need more help with Beyond Plastics New Jersey to pass laws. And not for nothing, when a state passes a law, it makes it harder for chain locations to function differently. So Skip the Stuff is passed in California and Washington State. So places like Grubhub and Uber Eats need a checkbox on their form. Do you want the single-use cutlery? Because they need to make it work for California and Washington and now New Jersey.
Sure.
So if you're in Michigan, that box is probably there anyway, right? And it
Yeah.
makes it easier for everybody else. And the way you get legislation passed is you get 30 or more towns to do it, right? Get local ordinances. You write general, pro forma ordinances, and you have a project plan. You get it passed in 30 some towns, and then you go to the governor and you say, "Will you sign it?" And they say, "Yes." So Skip the Stuff was signed on Governor Murphy's last day in office. So to get a bill
What?
passed, yeah,
So fascinating.
yeah. So to get a bill passed, you have to, create all the concepts and all the documents, and then you get somebody in your state legislator to sponsor it, and they have to bring it to committee, and then the committee has to pass it. And some laws can go through committee 10 times before they move forward. And then once it gets out of committee, it has to go to appropriations and figure out, like, is this going to make sense from a cost perspective? And then you have to get it in the full Assembly and Senate for votes. So they have to pass both houses. And then it has to go to the governor's desk, and he or she has to sign it. And if any point in that process you fail, you go back to the drawing board and you start over.
That's painful.
Yeah,
Oh
very
my
painful.
gosh.
Yeah. So, we were on pins and needles waiting for Governor Murphy's last day to sign the legislation, but he did. And it was easy. If we had only gotten 2 towns to pass it, I don't think we would have gotten him to sign it, because there wouldn't have been enough support, right? But
Right.
we had 30 to 60 towns pass it. And so for him, it was easy, easy, everything, easy is a
Relative.
relative word. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so my last question for you
Okay.
is, what is your best advice for the women, or that one woman who's listening, who is finally ready to leave her comfort zone and step into her next chapter, her future?
So a couple things. I started a Facebook subscription model. So you can go to Sustainable House on Facebook and you can subscribe. It's $2 a month. You will get coupons and other things. You won't actually end up paying any meaningful money. You'll save more than you get. But I have a list of my 12 non-negotiables. So things you should stop doing or do differently. And it's not about spending money, it's about making changes. So let me just give you a couple of quick ones. And again, not about spending. And I'll give you a couple of those and a couple of like easy swaps that make a difference. Don't touch register receipts. They're coated in BPA. They're incredibly toxic. There's a million reasons. They're so bad. Just don't touch register receipts. Don't use nonstick cookware ever. And if you have it in your cupboard, fine. Just don't use it. Either thrift a stainless steel pan or a glass pan, or just don't use anything nonstick. And again, we can unpack that. I talk about it periodically, but no nonstick. Okay, since we're especially talking about women, period products matter. They're loaded with toxins. We specialize in that in the store. We have like 5 different options, from single-use tampons to reusable pads. But like, it's our most sensitive area. Like, make some changes there. Those are things that have a big impact on all of our health. And don't microwave any plastic or any popcorn. Okay. Easy swaps to make. Don't drink out of single-use water bottles. They're plastic. Oh my God. Like, oh my God. The amount of microplastics and leaching is just... So my favorite, and I don't have one with me because I moved around today, but a mason jar. Mason jars are lead-free. They're like your safest thing to drink from, and they don't really cost anything. They're kind of everywhere. So drink from mason jars, get a reusable coffee mug. Never drink from a to-go coffee mug. They're all lined in plastic. So these are really like, bring your mason jar, bring your stainless steel mug to the coffee shop and get it filled. But these are easy changes to make. A shampoo bar has a big impact, and it's a better experience than liquid. You just have to learn it a little bit. Yesterday's video was me shampooing my hair. So we have all the how-tos. And the other thing I would say to change is your laundry detergent. So that really big brand that starts with a T and rhymes with wide has 84 ingredients listed on their website. 84 chemicals in it, right? And we're worried we can't get pharmaceuticals out of our drinking water. Well, I'm pretty sure we can't get all the laundry detergent chemicals out either. And no one's told me that. This is just common sense, right? So I make a detergent. We have Meliora. It comes in a little box, super easy to ship, 15 cents a load. It works great for most things. And your skin is your largest organ. Make the change. And if I could say one more thing, I would say, start wearing natural fibers, get rid of the synthetics. So that means you can't shop anymore at, the athletic clothes places. And if you do, you have to find an organic cotton stretchy thing. And there's plenty of brands. People can DM me. I always answer. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know that's a lot, but don't do it all. Just like,
right.
I hope you heard one thing in there and make that one change, and follow us on social media, and you'll get lots of tips. And every day we do a video with some kind of tip.
Perfect segue. Where can we find you?
Sustainable Haus, and it's spelled the German way, Haus. So Sustainable Haus. Facebook, Instagram, Threads, anywhere. We're in Summit. We have a big website. We have 3,000 items. It can be hard to find things, but if you message me, I will send you links. I give you answers. It takes me usually a day or two.
Perfect. Well, thank you for taking the time on educating us, walking us through your journey, which was so incredible, and how you just hopped right into this next chapter. It was so seamless for you, which is good for you, and lucky you that you did that with such grace. And you trusted yourself. I think that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Trusted yourself. So I think for me, that is the one thing I want whoever is listening to take away here. Whatever your transition is, whatever phase you're in, whatever chapter you're navigating, the one takeaway that I want you to apply is learn and figure out how you can just trust yourself in the season and in the transition.
Because women should be the future leaders. We care, we have empathy, we make a difference, and you see it in other women. And To the women out there, you are no different than any of us. You
Heck
have a
yeah.
voice worth hearing.
Indeed. Thank you so much for joining. Until next time.
Thank you, Amrita.
My pleasure. That's a wrap on another episode of the Amrita Effect. Nothing is wrong with you. You are just in the middle of becoming. If this resonated with you, please share it and subscribe. And if you could, leave a review so this reaches more women who need it. Just take one small step forward, and I'll see you in the next episode.